No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along, I'm Ian Brannan. Coming up in this week's episode, reaction to the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership clashes on Monday night as the Sheffield Tigers got one over the old enemy, the Bellevue Aces, live on TV.
Yeah, even in that last one, having to ride inside for a few laps, I felt pretty vulnerable, but then I watched the video back and actually had a decent bit of speed, so yeah, it's all good.
Plenty of reaction from the Sheffield Tigers camp and from the Bellevue Aces as well, including from Brady Kurtz and Dan Bewley.
Yeah, we made a deal. Some of the boys dropped a few points. Me and Brady decided to score a few and give us a false sense of hope. So, we'll see how it is. We've got a pretty young team, and I feel like every meeting, even if the points don't get better, they're learning and getting better. And just a few riders, it's just a matter of time before it clicks.
The main guest in this episode is a man who knows all about winning a trophy. NEIL MIDDLEDITCH, the team boss of the Poole Pirates, is with us, and he's going to be talking about what's going on with the Pirates, but also casting an eye on the top level of Speedway and one of his little proteges, Brady Kurtz, who seems to be doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I remember Brady when he first came to Bailey House. I mean, I want to say about sort of 14, 15, this little red-headed kid. He was going to ply his trade out in Denmark when his dad came over, and they went there, and then obviously when he came back to the UK and lived with me for a number of years, and to see him progress the way he has is absolutely amazing. I mean, they're a great family, the Kurtz family, and great friends of ours, and I've been in touch with Brady all through the season, because I've got some money on him, so I need him to win.
Much more from NEIL MIDDLEDITCH on the way in the second part of the podcast, and we'll have a roundup of everything else that's been happening in the Cab Direct Championship and in the National Leagues as well. All here on No Brakes, No Fear.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
We'll start, though, at Oleton, where Sheffield raced to an emphatic 55-35 home win over Rose's rivals Bellevue in a statement performance approaching the business end of the season. The Tigers put on a strong all-round display to advance to the brink of confirming their playoff place in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. Jack Holder scored 13. He was unbeaten after a third place in Heat 1. And there was another impressive display from rising star Leon Flint, who also scored 13 and was involved in two late 5-1s to extend that margin of victory. The Aces' three heat leaders scored all but 5 of their points. Dan Bewley leading the way with 13+1 as they missed the chance to gain ground on the leaders Ipswich. Well, we'll hear from Jack Holder, Dan Bewley and Leon Flint in a few moments' time, but first reaction from the two team managers. Simon Stead in a moment, but first the Aces manager Mark Lemon speaking to Scott Nichols on TNT Sports.
I don't know. There's obviously we've got to go to Ipswich on Thursday, so we're going to have to step up our away performances. If we're going to do anything come playoffs. A little bit. I feel a little bit disappointed tonight because obviously you got our two guys, Dan and Brady, flying really high in confidence, and the rest of the team not so much. And you got to hit the dirt line here, and I don't think the boys have been punching enough.
Simon, a convincing win for the Tigers tonight. And were you kind of a little bit nervous because obviously it's difficult to bring new riders in this late in the season, also at such an important time in the season too?
I was nervous, to be honest, Scotty, because like you said, integrating two new guys into the team. Obviously, Jai's not doing any laps this year at Sheffield, and obviously Nick's not being able to come here for a couple of seasons. So, difficult one, especially against such a powerhouse team like Bellevue, with the way Brady and Dan in particular ride this place. So, really happy with how they've integrated into the team. I know Jai's a bit shy on points tonight, but it wasn't from lack of effort, and that's what we've needed.
Exactly, if they're putting 100% in, and Nick obviously a good debut performance, and Pro Boys will probably need a massage, I reckon.
I can't watch him at the minute, but no, it's great. Look, can't fault any of them for effort. It was a complete team display tonight, and it's been a strong start to the month.
It certainly has been a strong start to the month, and particularly for Leon Flint, who once again got himself in double figures, and he was voted the Cabin Master Rider of the Night. Here is Leon Flint after scoring 13 points for Sheffield on Monday.
Yeah, it's good. 2-2 now, so it's obviously good. Just making starts and feeling good on the bike.
Your starts have been sensational like tonight, and especially around a place like this, because it can be a difficult place to pass. It's definitely a confidence track, so when you line up at the start and you're feeling good and confident making the start, that's a huge bonus.
Oh, definitely. Just found something that seems to be working, and even in that last one, having to ride inside for a few laps, I felt pretty vulnerable, but then I watched the video back and actually had a decent bit of speed. So yeah, it's all good, scoring the points now, but it all counts in the next couple of weeks for the playoffs.
Oh, it certainly does. Could you explain to the viewers at home, like you just said there, you feel a little bit vulnerable. Sheffield, it's because it's such a fast track, and like you said, it's wide, so if you don't feel like you've got that acceleration off the corner, you feel like somebody can pounce. But that dirt line, it's pretty demanding, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, when the dirt's there, ideally you want to be in it, but luckily, we found something that was working pretty well. I did my normal kind of thing with the setup for Heat 4, and today it didn't work. It was just a bit too flat off the corner, but I think you could see that there was a little bit more on it than what it has been the last couple of weeks, so we know that for next time, maybe not to do that, but overall I can't grumble too much because that was the only error of the night.
Not bad indeed from Leon Flint, the rising star. At the other end of the team, right at the top, Jack Holder had just the one error to look back on as well, and that was in his opening heat. After that, he went unbeaten. Despite the best efforts of Dan Bewley and Brady Kurtz, they couldn't get the better of the Sheffield Tigers number one thereon, who was unbeaten for the rest of the meeting, finishing on 13. He too has been having a chat with Scott Nicholls.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone knows Sheffield, you've got to be on the fence, and tonight we had a lot more dirt than normal, and she had a bit of toe in it, and when you're pretty much kissing the airbag, it's can't make an error, that's for sure.
No, you can't, and obviously that's where I feel like the confidence comes into it, because we don't have gears, so you've got to kind of make a choice. Obviously you want the bike to be electric from the start, but sometimes that can make it difficult to ride on the track. So you're making good starts tonight. Difficult bike to ride on the track, but you rode exceptional. Like you said about the dirt line, you were kind of just skimming the airbags. Yeah, it's
you definitely you want to try and get out them starts, but as everyone knows, the starts here are pretty woeful, so it's quite difficult. But I've done plenty of laps around here, and I don't mind going out there. I can sort of do it without an issue, but I definitely don't like doing it for them heat 13s and heat 15s, with 4 top boys. We're all going for that little inch that's on the airbag, and just got to get that head down and go.
It is, and when you're making those choices, it's a case of when you're setting the bike up for the start and it's making it difficult to ride. That's when it comes into the play where you get that first one good lap and then you can settle into it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head pretty much.
I just can't do it.
You're good around the small ones. I can't do what you do around them. But it's, as I said, it's confidence, and I've done a few years around here, and I know what's the score around here.
So well and truly dialed in, as they say, Jack Holder. Now, one rider who's been thrown in very much at the deep end is Nick Morris, of course an experienced rider, but he's been on the sidelines for the last 2 years, and coming in to Speedway at a time when everybody else is very much up and running is not the easiest thing to do. But Nick Morris is getting himself there. Scored 13+1 for the Berwick Bandits at the weekend, and in the Premiership on Monday night, getting in among the points as well. He too has been chatting to Ryan Guest at Oleton.
6+3 for yourself once again, the same score you got at Birmingham last week as well, and it's been a nice solid introduction back into the top flight of British Speedway.
Yeah, it has been. It hasn't been smooth sailing. It's obviously coming in at this time of the year and having that long off. It's going to take some time, but we're getting there slowly, and there's so many people I got to thank. Jamie Courtney from Berwick for everything he's done to get me back over here. Bolton Vans, Richie for hooking me up, and then my family and my girlfriend and her mum and dad back home for putting me up for 2 years and just letting me get my head down, go to work, and then focus on coming back here. And we're back now, and I want to have another crack at it.
I was going to say, because we know how much you've adored racing your whole life as well, so just how difficult have the past couple of years have been away from it?
Yeah, it has. I don't know if it's been difficult. I went home and I'd never really worked before or anything like that, so I was kind of excited to go back. I've been racing over here since I was 15 years old. I was probably a little bit burnt out from it and needed a change. It's made me appreciate what I had over here, but it was also good to go back and just work every single day and just get my head down and find that routine and everything to get back over here. And I'm motivated now more than ever to have another crack at it and put my head down and see what I can do.
So there's Nick Morris back in British Speedway. Let's hear now from the Aces camp. We'll hear from Brady Kurtz in a moment. But first of all, let's start with Dan Bewley. Got 13+1, but a frustrating night for the Aces as a whole. But Dan Bewley certainly has no qualms about the track. He's been speaking to Ryan Guest as well.
Yeah, a few of the boys just didn't quite get going. But yeah, it's always a tough track to come to. Sheffield's riders are pretty dialed in here, and you need to make some good starts, but yeah, you obviously still do have 4 laps, and I always enjoy it. It's one of my favourite tracks to come to. It's always pretty fun, but yeah, tough night for the team.
I was going to say that Sheffield certainly tried something a bit different with the track tonight, and it looked like you really had to attack it out there as well.
Nah, you always do. But no, track was what it is. It's quite nice. So gets pretty wide, and you kind of forward. And in 15 I was following Jack and kind of stuck on what you can do. He's going quick, and you kind of hope he makes a mistake to let you through, or maybe he pods it around the curb and it doesn't work. But no, it can be a tough track to race on, but can be really good at times too. No, I like it.
As Bellevue know, you've had big defeats in the regular meetings here in years gone by as well. But when it comes to the playoffs, and you two could end up meeting in the playoffs once again, the Aces seem to click into form, and that's what you've got to really keep in mind over this next 3-4 week period now.
Yeah, we made a deal. Some of the boys dropped a few points. Me and Brady decided to score a few and give us a false sense of hope. So, no, yeah, we'll see how it is. We've got a pretty young team, and I feel like every meeting, even if the points don't get better, they're learning and getting better, and just a few riders, it's just a matter of time before it clicks. Yeah, and I don't know when that'll be, but we've all been through that kind of thing, and I'm sure it will.
And the away trips don't get any easier. Another tough one at Ipswich on Thursday night. Your thoughts ahead of that?
Yeah, looking forward to it. We weren't there too long ago, so yeah, it's again quite a cool spot. I always like it there. It's always a good crowd there. Pretty different track, pretty technical, so I like it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, next up, the Ipswich Witches, top of the table and already assured of their place in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership playoff semi-finals. Let's hear now from Brady Kurtz then, riding high at the top of World Speedway, a few points away from Bartosz Szmarszlik, but a slightly trickier night and a rare last place in his final ride as well. But there were some other high points. 9+1 for Brady Kurtz on Monday. He's been speaking to Abby Stevens on TNT Sports.
Yeah, Sheffield's a very tough track to come to. If you're a little bit down on confidence, it's a even tougher place, and it's never been our strong track, that's for sure. We've never had too much success here my entire time at Bellevue, I don't think so. Yeah, it's another tough one for us, and I think we all tried to learn as much as we could and try and find something working in case we come back for the playoffs. So hopefully the boys did learn what they did wrong or right or whatever, and all we can do is try and focus on the home match now.
And you've got to put this behind you quite quickly because, as Lemo said, you've got Ipswich this week as well. So some big meetings coming up, and it is the business end of the season.
Yeah, very tough week for us. But, Ipswich is another one that we've struggled at in the past. But a few of us had a lot of good matches there before. So hopefully today can maybe fire us up a little bit. And, we could really do with a win there.
Well, Leicester moved up to second place in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership with a 50-40 win over Oxford. The Lions, top 3, dominating the race wins at the Hydroscand Arena at Beaumont Park. Sam Masters, Ryan Douglas, both scoring 15+1 from 6 rides. And Max Frick, the skipper, with 12. A series of 4-2s put the Lions 10 points ahead. And although the Spires gained a consolation 5-1 in Heat 14 with Mitch McDermott and Peter Kildemand, Masters and Douglas responded in the last race to rebuild that advantage. The Oxford skipper Maciej Janowski, who this week has been announced as the wild card for the Wrocław GP, which is coming up soon. He scored 10 in a major step forward from his previous visit to the East Midlands venue, and the reserve Killerman worked hard for 9+3. Next up for the Oxford Spires, they're at home to the Sheffield Tigers. The other fixture on Monday was involving Kings Lynn, who were successful in a last-heat decider at Birmingham to notch their second away win of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership season. The Stars saw an 8-point lead clawed back by the bottom club, with visitors Nikolai Clint being ruled out of his final ride as a precaution after a crash in heat number 9. But with the scores level, Richard Lawson and guest Louis Kerr grabbed a crucial 5-1 in heat 14, and Lawson then defeated the home duo of Keenan Rue and Mate Zagar in heat 15 to seal a 47-43 victory. Louis Kerr, a key figure at reserve, 14+1, Lawson getting 10+3, Keenan Rue 12, Zagar and 11, both in double figures for the Brummies. Let's get some reaction right now from Rob Lyon speaking to Dave Rowe.
Yeah, it was. We managed to get the right gates for this time as opposed to last time. We started off well, and he sort of maintained that lead all the way through until they just pegged us back a little bit mid meeting. But we finished well, and got the job done. Had a good guest in Louis Kerr, who probably was the match winner in lots of ways, but it's a good team performance overall. So it was good to get a bit of a morale boosting win, to be honest.
And Lawson got the job done for you in heat 15, when obviously you got the 5-1 in 14, which he was involved in, and then he did heat 15.
Yeah, and we needed 2 points out of that race, obviously, and Richard's normally a good trapper. He'd been going good all night, and Bomber had been lively, so I felt they were the right 2 boys to go for it. And certainly putting Richard off gate 2 was the right choice, and it worked well. So happy to get it over the line, really.
What's is Nikolai Clint hurt, or obviously didn't take his last ride?
He just felt a little bit second hand, obviously, because he crashed in his third ride. So we just pulled him out of his last one, really. But he should be okay for Thursday. I'll speak to him tomorrow, see how he is, but he should be okay for Thursday.
Okay, that's good news. And do you expect Ben Cook in on Thursday?
Yeah. Spoke to him today actually. Yeah. He's all good to go for Thursday, so no problem at all there. Hopefully, we're back to full strength.
Yeah, okay, well that's good. At least sort of the win tonight sort of puts you back on, or gives you the chance to have a decent end again, doesn't it? An away win always gives you a boost.
Yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's hard for Birmingham, and it's the last two meetings, and obviously tracks. The track is difficult for the home team, always challenging for the home team these days at the moment as well, which it is for the away team. But it's just sad to see it go. But the racing tonight seemed a lot better. The racing tonight was quite good, to be honest, at times. But we just had nothing in the tank just to get it over the line, which is good.
So looking at the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership table ahead of the next batch of fixtures on Thursday, and it looks like this. Birmingham Brummies, currently bottom of the table. They've raced 20 meetings and have 6 points in total. Sixth place, second bottom, the Oxford Spires. They've also ridden 20 meetings and they have 11. Kings Lynn are in fifth place. They've got 16 points on the board. They've ridden 18 meetings, which is the same as the Sheffield Tigers, who are one place above them and in the playoff places now. Now, the playoff places are starting to get sorted. Leicester are almost there. With Kings Lynn winning on Monday night, that wasn't quite enough, but Leicester are almost there. You have to say as well, Bellevue and Sheffield are almost there as well, because all locked on the same points. So that should all be confirmed within the next week, you would think, barring something crazy happening. It looks like that top four will remain the same. Sheffield Tigers have raced 18 meetings. They have 31 points. The Bellevue Aces have raced 20 meetings and have 32 points, and they're in third place. Second place are the Leicester Lions. They've raced 19 meetings and have 32 points. And the Ipswich Witches have raced 19 meetings and they are on a total of 36 points. So it is really, bar the shouting, looking like the top four is cemented, but the positions within that top four. Obviously, you've only got a couple of points between most of those sides as well. Ipswich leading the way, but Leicester, Bellevue and Sheffield, there's only a point between them. So those final positions could very much change around yet. And just a reminder, it will be first versus fourth and second versus third when we come to the playoffs. Let's have a look at the week ahead then. A full programme of meetings on Thursday and next Monday as well. As we've touched on, Ipswich are hosting Bellevue. They then make the trip to another playoff rival, Leicester. Sheffield also close to securing their top four finish officially as they they head to Oxford on Thursday. That meeting will be on BSN as well on Thursday. Kings Lynn will look to complete a double over Birmingham when they meet at the Adrian Flux Arena. And then the Stars head to Oxford on Monday, whilst the Brummies travel to Bellevue. So that's how things look for the week ahead in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. Coming up next then, someone who doesn't really have a horse in the race when it comes to the Premiership playoffs, but very much has a horse in the race in the Cab Direct Championship playoffs, because his team are currently top of the table and they're the reigning not just league champions but treble winners in 2024. Can they repeat it again in 2025? Certainly NEIL Middleditch hopes so. And Midlow is next on No Brakes, No Fear.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
I'm Ian Brannan, welcome back. And in this section, our main guest joins us, and he is simply one of British Speedway's most successful ever team managers. He has won over 30 trophies, including 3 more last season alone for the Poole Pirates, and of course, a long career. In fact, his whole life has been spent in Speedway, but as a rider with the Poole Pirates. And his dad before that, of course, Ken Middleditch. NEIL Middleditch joins us, but now, Midlow, you are obviously still looking to add to your trophy collection, but a bit more of a man of leisure these days.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've closed the family business down now, so I've sort of got some time to spend with my wife and hopefully do some travelling and just enjoy life a little bit more.
Good stuff. And, well, let's talk about Speedway then, because the Poole Pirates, as we say, need little introduction, because certainly since dropping down to the championship level of Speedway, it's gone very, very well, hasn't it? And there's very, very little silverware that hasn't gone your way. And, of course, most recently last season, you claimed all 3 titles that were on offer. Just looking back on that season now, obviously you've had a bit of time to reflect on it. That must be up there with one of your best seasons as a team manager with the Pirates.
Yeah, obviously to win anything is good, but to win all 3 is exceptional. And I think last season, as you say, was ranked up right up with one of the best seasons we've had. Yeah, we've just got to try and do the same again this year, but it's getting a bit more difficult this year.
It's also a bit more difficult, isn't it, Midler, because you made some changes. Tom Brennan and Ben Cook have left the championship level of Speedway behind. So obviously before things even started, you had 2 key positions there to change within the side, which has obviously led to a different makeup for the Poole Pirates in 2025 as a whole.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously, riders have got to progress in their career, and Tom and Ben both felt their time in the championship was done, really, and you can't knock them for that. But so, yeah, to replace them is difficult. I think, Matt and Dan have put a team together which we felt could be championship contenders, and it's proved to be. But I think at this moment in time, we're just, I don't know, say lacking a little bit. I mean, we've got some tough matches coming up. We've beaten some good opposition, but we've also lost a few which perhaps we shouldn't have.
What do you put that down to then? Is that just been the way that the matches have gone, or I mean, obviously now you're not able to sort of pull any changes really in the team at this point, are you either?
No, I know it's difficult, isn't it? You just don't know with riders. You have good days in the office, you have bad days in the office, and speed riders have good days on the track and they have bad days on the track. So it's just a case of you need all 7 riders to be clicking on that same meeting to keep winning meetings, and if you're not, you're going to fall short.
Probably the away form has been the bigger concern, hasn't it, really, for the Pirates, where you have come unstuck. It has been away rather than at home.
Yeah, but I think if you look back at the scores, we've not lost by any great amount. It's just been a few points here and there, and that's to say, just falling a little bit short. And it's concerning to lose the meetings, but it's more annoying to lose a meeting by, say, 4, 6 points than it is to lose it by 20, because you've been properly walloped. But when you lose it narrowly, that hurts more than a big loss, I think.
You've obviously played this game for a long time now, and you've seen it through. Nothing's won at this stage of the season, at this moment in time in Speedway, because obviously the playoffs is where it's all decided. So what are your feelings then heading into what will undoubtedly be a tight contest in the Cab Direct Championship playoffs?
Yeah, I think we're perfectly capable. I mean, as you say, it all starts again, doesn't it? I mean, I've scraped in at fourth and won the league, and by the same token, I've romped to first in the playoffs and then lost it. So it's a case of, I think, yes, we're fully capable, but as I said a moment ago, I think we all 7 riders need to be chipping in. I think, I've said it time and time again, reserves play a huge part, and they can be a key. I mean. The other week, I think they had 18 points and our reserves had 3, which is not acceptable in my book. So you need Heat 2s and Heat 8s are very important races for the teams, and I think that's the ones we need to be sort of focusing on. I think everybody else has been doing their job. I mean, Lawson, I mean, he's just a machine, isn't he? I mean, he just bangs in point after point after point. Anders been having a little bit of a lean patch at the moment, but we know he's capable. It's just we need him to step up in the playoffs.
And, of course, you made that mid-season change as well with Will Cairns coming in. And, well, he started off the best he can. It's obviously not all been one-way traffic for Will. You expected that, though, as well, that he's going to have some tougher meetings. I think he's, maybe expected that. Maybe it's been tougher than perhaps he thought it might be, actually, in some occasions when we've interviewed him, say, on BSN or whatever, where perhaps, I think at Redcar, where he was like, it was a bit of an eye-opener for him, going there and racing against riders of a different level that he's faced up until this point in his career.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a reality check, isn't it? Obviously, there was a lot of hype around Will, and rightly so, because I mean, he's a good little rider. He's got great equipment, good backup team behind him. But it's a bit different when you're racing it week in, week out, with riders who are better than him at this moment in time. I'm not saying he's not going to be better, because he's a very talented young man. But he needs to realise that he's not going to win every race, and his job is not to score 15 points. It would be nice, but 4 or 5, I'll take that off him and Starkey. 10 points on us is 10 points off the opposition. So that's basically what I'm looking at as a sort of a minimum, really.
And just before we talk about the upcoming cup competitions, the championship as a whole, you're leading the way. Glasgow still have a few meetings in hand on the Pirates, so it's certainly going to be close between the two of you at the top of the table there. But then it's still to be decided, the rest of the playoffs. There are some very strong teams there. Edinburgh in the mix now. You'll be relishing a trip to Edinburgh potentially in the playoffs. It's a long old, or will that be Javi's job?
Well, I mean, playoffs not a problem. I mean, I won't step on Javi's feet on his stuff, but I mean, I'm happily go along with him, to give my support. But yeah, it is. It doesn't really matter who we face, whether we finish top or we finish second or third or fourth. You're going to have to face some good teams. So I think, it's nice to have that sort of, chutzpah that you've finished top, but it means nothing. It means nothing these days. You can lose it as easily as win it.
It's certainly looking like a northern trip anyway, isn't it? With the way it's going, Glasgow, sure. Edinburgh, Redcar, probably Berwick, Oxford outside chance maybe at this moment in time too. So. Yeah, it's maybe Workington also still obviously with a shot.
Yeah, actually, I haven't been to the new Workington track. I would like to have a look at it. Actually, to be fair, I've heard good things about it.
Oh, you've not been so far? It is.
No.
It's one of the more picturesque tracks, definitely right on the coast.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures. Look, it looks awesome. They've done a great job up there.
On to the Cup then, and as far as your, obviously we're speaking on the Wednesday morning, first thing, ahead of your BSN Series semi-final, and it is kind of your old rivals now of the last couple of years, certainly, the Oxford Cheetahs. The rivalry, first of all, between these two clubs has built up, hasn't it? And I think because you've had a couple of cup finals last year, they sort of told their own story, really. I know that maybe perhaps previously the rivalry wasn't quite the same, but I suppose Speedway's not the same as it was in previous eras either. But it is good to have that sort of reasonably local rivalry, a local derby, if you will, between two sides like this.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I mean, obviously back in the day, we had Exeter and sort of Somerset and places like this. But yeah, no, I mean, the Oxford thing has just become obviously stemming from last year's finals, and obviously Shockey, who's a great friend of mine, and obviously wants to repay me the favour of winning a title. So yeah, I mean they've come to Poole. They've beaten us once. They've ran us very close last week, and we know tonight's going to be a belter. I mean, I think Oxford will bring some fans along. They've got some passionate fans. the same as us. So they bring a good crew along, and makes for a great atmosphere. It's great for Speedway. I mean, at the end of the day, it'll be a great crowd there tonight, and it'll be a real good meeting.
Oxford have had a bit of a frustrating recent season, I suppose, the last few weeks or so. Maybe not gone the way that Peter Schrock would have liked, and it's looking harder for them the way things are going in the league. So, in your experience, is it always worth being beware of a wounded animal in that respect, where you've got the shackles of the league off and it's a different competition, and they're going out there to make a fist of the season in this with the cup competition, perhaps?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, every cup is one that a club wants to win, and Oxford certainly would love to put one over on us, as I say, repaying us for last year. But by the same token, we've got to try and stop that run, if you like. And my brief to the board tonight will be, we've got to. This is a tough meeting. I mean, all the meetings coming up now are tough. They're all tough for us.
Well, this is it. You move into that cup final mentality, but that's something that Poole have really been good at. And I know, speaking from riders who signed for Poole, the conversation that maybe they have with Matt Ford initially when they sign, is that we are a team that will win trophies and bring trophies to you, if you're part of the side. There is that winning mentality within Poole, though, isn't there? That these occasions, the opportunity now when you're getting down to the final shake-up of the last four or whatever, to get some silverware, that's where the things seem to go up a notch.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we have, so you don't want to sort of keep blowing my own trumpet, that we have won an awful lot of trophies, and it doesn't, my hunger to win has never waned at all in all the years I've been there. And Matt and Dan, they've done great jobs over the years assembling teams for us to win. And as you say, riders, I always say to the boys that, welcome to the most hated club in the country because we win so much. And I said, I'm quite happy to carry that mantle if we keep winning. But, it's, we have been turned over a few times in the past, but, we tend to bounce back. And that's what this season, as it's getting harder. And I feel this is a very tough run to the end of the season for the Pirates and for all the teams in the playoffs. We've certainly got to have our wits about us.
Yeah, and so that's that one as well. And you've also got the Knockout Cup still to come as well. So still, despite people saying perhaps that you haven't had the best season versus previous ones where you've had one or two blips here and there, you're still at the races in all three competitions.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, start of the season, we lost a couple of matches by a couple of points, and everybody sort of, sacked the whole team and run for the boats, But it's a long season, and we have done that in the past, and we have scraped in and won it. So it's like we are capable. We're very capable, but we need to be firing as a 7-man team to win any of these trophies, and that's the bottom line.
And as ever, whenever I think I've only been to Poole once this season myself, but whenever you see meetings at Poole, it's always a great turnout, isn't it? The town comes out, the Speedway town. It's been that way for a long time now. It's always been part of your life, but people still come out in great numbers, don't they? It's
fantastic. I mean, and if you think, for those who haven't been to Poole, the track is right in the town centre. There are houses, right in the back door, but it's been there since '48. My family's been involved in it since '49, but I think people just accept that on a Wednesday night there's going to be Speedway, and they see it's for a couple of hours, and as far as I'm aware, we've had no complaints about noise, and as you say, they just love their Speedway at Poole, and we never used to have a top football team. Obviously, Bournemouth a Premiership now, but Speedway was the top sporting team in the area for many years.
Yeah, and you continue your next meeting then with, a side that's come back as well. It proves it can be done, and obviously there's a bit of hope now about maybe Swindon being able to follow in those footsteps as well. So it'd be great to get another side following on from what Oxford have done. If you get Swindon back, it'd be even better for the Pirates too, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be great. I mean, any club. I mean, Speedway's we're losing clubs. Obviously, Birmingham have gone, but then when you think of the tracks that still sat there, like Peterborough, Lakeside, Eastbourne, all tracks that had sat there which could be used, and it's a great shame. So any club that comes back into the league, I'm all for. It's the more the merrier.
Let's talk about just get your view on the Premiership, because things are starting to hot up there, and again, interesting between the top four. I think now we've got a few sides obviously that have slipped away, but that top four is taking shape now, led by Ipswich, who certainly, despite having a few injuries sort of mid-season, last season, of course, their injuries came at the wrong time, but I think they'll be hoping, if they can keep their 1-7 right, that they'll be certainly with a chance of getting to the final shake-up for this year in the Premiership.
Yeah, as you say, it's a good. I mean, I've obviously been watching a lot of it on the TV, and say Ipswich is a team that I think a lot of people fear, because I think the Ipswich home track is a tricky little track to ride. I remember when I rode there, and I think many riders will say that but the Ipswich team have really got that place sort of dialed in. But Bellevue, Leicester, Sheffield, they're all great teams, aren't they? And then you look at the Sheffield track. I mean, you see the Sheffield boys around there. Watched the meeting last night, and they're just like 4 inches off the fence, and it's pretty impressive. And for a visiting rider to come and to do that is tough. I talked to Zach about it. And he said, you just got to be so close out there, and if you haven't got the right setups, it's a sketchy place to race, but a great racetrack, really fast.
And particularly when you look at those two teams on Monday night for both sides, there's riders there that you have personally taken under your wing. When riders come over from Australia, many have ended up staying at your house, Bailey House, in Dorset, and not just a home for Speedway riders, but also they get their workshops there and a real Speedway community too. So it gives them that sense of family, and riders have spoken about that in the past. But we're talking, Chris Holder, Jack Holder, Brady Kurtz, his brother Todd Kurtz, Darcy Ward, even Tony Rickardson in the past. So, you have helped support these, and to see these riders now moving on in their careers and in that meeting at different stages of their careers as well. You've got Chris Holder there, who's been it, seen it and done it, and Brady, who's looking to follow in those footsteps now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I remember Brady when he first came to Bailey House. I mean, I want to say about sort of 14, 15, this little red-headed kid. He was going to ply his trade out in Denmark with his dad came over. And they went there, and then obviously when he came back to the UK and lived with me for a number of years, and to see him progress the way he has is absolutely amazing. I mean, they're a great family, the Kurtz family, and great friends of ours. And I've been in touch with Brady all through the season, because I've got some money on him. So, need him to win. So I did it the minute he got in the Grand Prix. I thought, well, I know Brady. He's a very professional rider. He can ride any tracks, the big ones. He's learned on the little tracks like in Denmark. So he's got the full set as far as skill set goes on different size tracks, and that's why I felt that he was going to do well. Did I think he was going to be doing this well? I hoped he would, but I mean, I think he's surprised a lot of people. But he's riding so well, and hopefully he can go on and win the title.
He's got a great opportunity now, hasn't he? Absolutely, and it's fantastic for everybody in the world, because This is a proper title race now that we haven't seen probably since the Laguta Schmarslik thing a few years ago.
No, that's right. I mean, that's good. It's always been over by now, hasn't it? Smarslik's already got his set of gold Kevlar's made and ready to put on. But no, I think Brady certainly made him sit up and take notice now. And Brady's, he's as cool as a cucumber. I've known him a long time and watching his demeanour. He's focused. I mean, he's certainly focused to win, and there's no reason why he can't. I mean, the pressure is coming. The pressure's got Roslav this weekend or next weekend, home track, but it's a Polish track. But Bartosz knows it well. Voynes, who knows? Voynes can be sketchy, but Brady's such a good gaiter, which is a huge thing in these Grand Prix, because all the riders are so good. If they get out in front of you, they very rarely make mistakes, and so you've got to take advantage on that first 30 meters to get a race win in many occasions.
And as we mentioned, you have worked with and spent time away from the track with some of the best riders of the modern era: Tony Rickardson, Jason Crump, Jason Doyle, obviously Brady Kurtz more recently now, who's got that opportunity to join those riders at the very top of World Speedway. What is the difference between a very good world-class rider and a world champion, in how they operate and what you see away from the track in how they conduct themselves?
It's $1 million question, isn't it, really? But I think applying yourself to the job, I think to be totally professional, putting everything aside, you have to be. I mean, there are the exceptions to the rule, like Darcy Ward, shall we say, but sadly didn't get to the heights. But buck the trend a little bit. But I think if you look at Brady, I mean, he's ultra professional. Bartosz obviously is, and most of the Grand Prix riders, well, all of the Grand Prix riders are. But you've got to be totally focused, as in any professional sport, because if you're not, the guy who's behind you will be better. And so you've got to be totally focused on your own game, give it your best shot. And at the end of the day, you've got to finish and say, well, I did everything I possibly could to be as good as I got. Because if you can step back this without naming names, I can think of many riders who perhaps had the ability, had the talent, but perhaps wasted it with their off-track antics. So I think that, you have to, I don't say put your fun aside, because the boys do have fun, but you have to be totally focused when you're certainly at the Grand Prix level.
And I think that a case in point there, perhaps, Jason Doyle has spoken in the past about perhaps he was having too much fun at one point. Maybe that was with you, I'm not sure. But he drew a line under that and focused on it, and it was then sort of the year or two after that then he got to be the world champion. So that's, obviously we talking about focus. It's not just turning up for the meeting, it's the everything that goes on around it.
It's everything that goes with it, I think. Yeah, 100%. And as you say, Jason was a bit of a party animal by his own admission, but yeah, just suddenly a light bulb moment, and said, right, that's it, I'm going to apply myself to this, and I'm going to do it, and that's what he did. So it is, and younger riders got to look at that sort of. I mean, I've looked at some of the youngsters now in the lower leagues, and I look at some of them, they've got some great equipment, and hopefully some of them will go far. But it's so many riders in the sport just drift aside, and they do nothing. There's very few that will make it to the top, and so those that do have worked so very hard and thoroughly deserve to be where they are.
But you make it to the top though, and you live off that for the rest of your life, don't you? Because like now, whenever Chris Holder comes down to the tapes, I can guarantee in a meeting that it will get mentioned that he was a 2012 world champion. Same for Jason Doyle, former world champion. The fact that he did it years ago bears no resemblance. It's like being the president of the United States or something, isn't it? That once you've done it, you will always be referred to that. Gary Havelock, of course, is a former world champion. It's there forever.
I was going to say the same thing. Having 92 world, yeah, absolutely. Of course you do. I mean, that's every rider's dream is to have that and to be able to say, yes, I was world champion at my chosen sport. I mean, it's an accolade which is, you can't describe. I mean, I don't know, unfortunately, but it's something that, yeah, it's every rider. That's what they start the sport for. That is their dream, is to be world champion.
Well, all the best to Brady, and yeah, there's no reason now, down to 3 points, and the pressure for once is on Smarshlick because he can see him coming, and Brady's been talking in interviews about I'm not going to give up, and he's got that great attitude of not giving up, which is probably what
yeah. I like. I mean, I've known him a long time, and I see his whole thing. There's nothing cocky about him. He's very resigned to the job he has to do. And has belief in himself that he can do it, and the way he's riding, there is no reason why he can't do it. And I think myself and many other people would like to see the change of hands at the top.
And for the league form, of course, he's the captain of the Bellevue Aces. He has been for a while now. Zach, of course, is sort of following in his footsteps a little bit by coming through the route of living in Dorset with yourself. And for the Bellevue Aces, they've had a bit of a mixed season as well by their standards. Again, Mark Lemon's sort of in a similar situation to you, I think, with Poole. They've got the decent riders, but the points are not coming where they'd hoped from. Perhaps in the second string positions or reserve positions, and maybe in similar boat to you actually, but in the Premiership. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, it's a difficult one. It's difficult to put your finger on it, isn't it? You've got riders who perform one day and they for some unknown reason they just can't do it the next day. But it's that and that's why I say you need 7 riders firing. You need everybody doing the job. You need if everybody scores 7 or 8 points, you're going to win meetings, aren't you? That's basically the rule. You can have somebody scoring 15, but if they've got no backup at reserve, if your reserves are scoring you 2 or 3, it's tough. It puts a lot more pressure on the other 1 to 5. So you do need everybody contributing to win a meeting. And let's say Lemo's in the same boat at the moment, isn't he? But you just can't put your finger on it.
It's an interesting time of year, but an exciting one, isn't it, Midlow? And certainly one that you'll be looking to have a few more big nights down at Wimborne Road. And that begins this evening for you on Wednesday night as the Pirates take on the Oxford Cheetahs in the BSN Series. Thanks for joining us, Midlow. All the best.
Thank you, Ian. Cheers. Much appreciated.
NEIL Middleditch there, and we'll have a bit of a roundup of what's going on in the Cab Direct Championship and in the National League as well in the final part of No Breaks, No Fear.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
So in this final part, we'll have a roundup of what's happening elsewhere in British Speedway, starting with the Cab Direct Championship. And the Redcar Bears have started to look good for the playoffs in the Cab Direct Championship, starting with a big win over their direct rivals, the Oxford Cheetahs. A damaging blow for the Cheetahs, but a huge boost for the Bears. The Bears taking all 3 points from that contest, including the aggregate bonus as well. The home side were led by an outstanding performance from their skipper. Sam Masters got 19 plus 1 from 7 rides. His only support of note, though, came from the battling reserve Luke Colleen, who got 10 plus 1. Otherwise, it was a fairly difficult night. By contrast, the visitors had a terrific team display. Leon Flint came in as a guest and he got 11 plus 1 from 4 rides. Jason Edwards with 11 plus 1. Danny King with 10, also in double figures as well. Let's hear from the Bears team manager, Gavin Parr, speaking on BSN.
Yeah, as I say, I've just been saying that to Peter. Like, he's in the same boat as us, having to get guests in sort of every week. And it's not easy, you know, it's so difficult getting, certainly on Fridays and things. Like tonight we showed, as I say, that should be Eric Riss riding in there, you know, and unfortunately he'll probably not be back this season, bless him. And we've had a guest who's come in and done what Eric would have done, probably slightly, you know what I mean, on a par, and that's what it makes it so frustrating. And as I say, I think Peter's exactly the same, that if we could have had the team that we started with, how we would have been doing, you know. Instead we're sort of, you know, playing catch up a little bit, but fingers crossed. Tonight I can't ask any more for the guys. They've all done fantastic, so yeah.
Well, the Redcar Bears followed that up with another win, this time at home against the Berwick Bandits, and the Bears edged it. It went right down to the wire, and a terrific Heat 15. If you've not seen it, look it up. All 4 riders racing alongside each other, all level, going into the start of the second lap. But in the end, Charles Wright and Danny King established themselves into a 4-2 position and got the points, but it's certainly a terrific race to watch. Second place was Jonas Jeppesen, who had won Heat 14 as a tactical substitute to bring the Bandits back into contention right at the end. That was enough, though, for the visitors to take their first aggregate point of the season. But nonetheless, the Bears looking good in the playoff places. Also taking place on Friday night last week, the Glasgow Tigers were also taken the distance as well by the Workington Comets. That one ended 48-42 at Ashfield. The home duo of Chris Harris and Carl Howarth racing to a 5-1 in the final race for the second place side in the league table at the moment to fend off a spirited Comets challenge to make it 6 wins in succession. And Edinburgh kept the ball rolling in the Cab Direct Championship playoff places as well. They had a hard-fought 48-42 win over Scunthorpe at Armadale. Justin Sedgman scored a 15-point maximum for the Monarchs, who overcame the absence of the unwell Victor Palavara at number 1 to record 3 more crucial league points. We can hear from the Edinburgh team boss, Alec Harkis.
Well, we got in the end, it was as tight as what I feared it might have been. Take nothing away from Scunthorpe, they did very, very well. And they've done that in the past, and I was not surprised at all. But they kept it very close, so we never really got that big a gap. Fortunately, the gap came at the right time, so the pressure wasn't on in the last 2 or 3 races. But it was closer than a lot of people thought, but it's as close as I thought it would be.
Meanwhile, on the fixtures on Saturday, the Plymouth Gladiators produced a dramatic late finish to edge 47-43 over their southern rivals Poole in the Cab Direct Championship. It was a thriller at the Coliseum. It does mean that the Pirates have secured their playoff places, as we heard there from NEIL Middleditch earlier, but they've had to settle for the aggregate point only in Devon, despite being 6 points up with 4 races to go. And the Workington Comets recovered from a slow start to defeat Oxford 49-41. It was another significant result in the championship playoff race. The Comets trailing by 6 points after 2 races, but they were level by mid-meeting, and a key 5-1 from Troy Batchelor and Antti Vulas in Heat 13, backed up in the next race by Jacob Hook and Jai Etheridge, and the home side took the points. So let's have a look at how things are looking in the Cab Direct Championship at this moment in time as far as the league table and the race for the playoffs is concerned. Top of the table then are the Poole Pirates. They've ridden 15 meetings, 28 points on the board. Glasgow Tigers, they've ridden 12, and this will be out of 16, of course. They've ridden 12 and 24 points. Edinburgh Monarchs ridden 12 and have 18 points. And the Redcar Bears, they've ridden the fewest of the top 4, 11 meetings and 14 points. So still a couple in hand, certainly of the Pirates right at the top. Next up, it's the Oxford Cheetahs. They've got a bit of a task on their hands now. 5th place, so just outside the playoffs. They've ridden 13 meetings. They're on 12 points, but not an easy set of fixtures coming coming up. They've got to take on yet the Poole Pirates and the Glasgow Tigers and Workington Comets in their 3 remaining fixtures. And they certainly need one lot of points. They probably need maximum points out of those to see if they can have a chance of getting into the playoff places. Even then, it's now out of their hands, really. The Berwick Bandits are in 6th place, ridden 12, 11 points on the board. The Plymouth Gladiators are in 7th place, 12 meetings ridden and 10 points. Scunthorpe Scorpions, they've ridden 14, so just 2 meetings remaining, and they're on 10. And the Workington Comets, they've ridden 9 meetings and 8 points. So they've still got a few to catch up, the Workington Comets, and could still yet throw themselves into contention. But certainly some big fixtures ahead in the next couple of weeks for all of those sides. That's how the league table looks. Now, looking ahead to how things are shaping up in the Cab Direct Championship for the week ahead. And, the race for the playoffs really does hot up. Edinburgh hosting Workington on Friday. That's going to be a big one, whilst 4th place Redcar taking on Plymouth, with both visiting sides looking to keep their hopes alive as well. The Gladiators and the Bears then head southwest to meet at the Coliseum on Saturday. Also on Saturday, we've got to Glasgow taking on Oxford, who are almost in last chance saloon now, as we just covered, with Workington and Edinburgh meeting for a second time in 24 hours. There's also Sunday action at Oxford as the Cheetahs take on Workington. 2 other competitions resume as Glasgow and Edinburgh race in the Maxicab KO Cup quarter-final to a conclusion at Ashfield on Wednesday night, whilst Poole host Oxford at the opening leg of their BSN Series semi-final. Looking at the National Development League and the National Trophy, and there's been a bit of joy at Kings Lynn because the Kings Lynn Young Stars have become the first winners of the National Development Trophy in its current format. It was a 59-31 win at Kent on Sunday, making them uncatchable in the league table at this stage. So some fantastic news there for the Kings Lynn Young Stars. Skipper Jody Scott broke the track record as well doing that meeting. That was in heat number 1 on his way to 14 points. Youngsters Cooper Russian and guest Geordie Loftus both scored 11 plus 1, paid maximums in fact on the night for 4 rides. Luke Harrison also scoring 11 plus 1 from 5. The Eagles were without their regular top 3 riders, with Ben Morley leading their resistance on 11 points for a fantastic evening there for the Kings Lynn Young Stars, champions of the National Development Trophy. Looking at what's coming up in the week ahead then in the National League, obviously the NDT is pretty much all done, but there is another fixture, a chance for them to celebrate their title success next up. They're going to be at home to Plymouth on Wednesday. It's the only third-tier fixture scheduled of the week. So that brings us to the end pretty much, but let's have a look at the full fixture picture for the week ahead. Starting August 13th, Wednesday, Maxicab KO Cup quarter-final second leg. Glasgow versus Edinburgh. Doesn't need any introduction, that one. And Edinburgh are ahead on aggregate as well. It's 41-49 heading into that. BSN Series semi-final, Poole versus Oxford at 7:30. And that NDT fixture between Kings Lynn and Plymouth tonight at 7:30. Thursday, August 14th, ROWE Motor Oil Premiership action between the Ipswich Witches and the Bellevue Aces. That was settled by Superheat, remember, so the aggregate score is all level on that one for the extra point up for grabs. Kings Lynn Stars versus the Birmingham Brummies. Kings Lynn 47-43 ahead. And Oxford versus Sheffield. Sheffield start that one at Cowley, 30 points up. And you can watch that one on BSN as well on Thursday night. Friday, Cab Direct Championship. It's Edinburgh versus Workington and Redcar versus Plymouth. And then on Saturday, Glasgow versus Oxford, with Glasgow ahead by 2 points, 46-44 going into that one. Plymouth versus Redcar and Workington versus Edinburgh. Sunday, Cab Direct Championship, Oxford versus Workington, with the Comets up from last weekend, 49-41 in favour of Oxford. And then on Monday, back to ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, Bellevue versus Birmingham. That's at 48-42 to the Aces going into that. Kings Lynn versus Oxford, and Leicester versus Ipswich, 36-54 in favour of Ipswich at the halfway stage. There is no TV meeting on TNT Sports this week. Your next one there will be in a week on Monday. And that will be Oxford versus Kings Lynn, the next live action on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. And that rounds things up nicely for this week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back with another episode of No Breaks, No Fear next week. Take care, have a good week, enjoy your Speedway wherever you're going, and keep cool as well. Remember, put the sun cream on. Oh yes, You learn the hard way at Speedway. Catch you next week.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.